First, I want to thank Dean Chris Pappas and Bishop John Stevens, whose brainchild my coming here to the cathedral on this morning was, and I just feel it's the perfect way to move into this new time for me, and am very much looking forward to this later today, in which the diocesan crozier will be handed into the capable hands of Bishop Stevens. So it's just lovely to, in a sense, end here where it all began, and where a place that is very much a home to my heart, and I'm delighted to be able to call it officially home for me once I'm a retired bishop of the Anglican Church of Canada. I've actually named this sermon, and it's called What We Take With Us. The process of moving one's things discloses much about a person, I believe. And here I'm speaking of myself, of course, in that next week I will be moving from my home in Canada to my home in Washington State. No, it's not just about learning what you learn about yourself as you sort through the stuff of your life and put those things in 3 piles labeled keep, toss, or give away. Rather, for this move, a move from a role I have loved, a people I have loved, and a country I have loved and do love, what's fascinating to me is what I'm choosing to take with me in my car and not to entrust to movers as I cross the border, I think, on Thursday. I know that may sound a bit small and unimportant, but when I look at what I've set aside to take in my car, well, it says a lot about me. It says a lot about what's important to me as I go through what many call a transition process, an experience that is very much a process of dying and being reborn, of letting go of many, many things, trusting that something new will emerge as I let go. And so here are some of those things that I'm taking with me in my car as I cross the border and move. A few beautiful pieces of pottery from my favorite BC potter, Jackie Frew. Irreplaceable works of practical art. She's in North Van, by the way. Gorgeous in themselves and also connected to meals, those times with people we love that are sacred. Assorted papers, yes, things like my birth certificate and tax documents, but also my son's drawing from when he was 5 or 6. Yes, I brought those to Canada with me. Crayon sketches of masters of the universe figures, and then stuck right in there along with them, his sketch of God. An eagle feather given to me by Terry Alec, a residential school survivor who was one of the first to stand up and be counted in the courts related to the damage done to him and many, many others in those schools. Cards given to me or sent to me by my husband Eric over the years, because of course we haven't gotten to spend over the years much time together, really. His cards are very special to me, and they're always an intriguing combination of whimsy and sincerity, and he makes them himself. Some wonderful gifts the diocese and the province and now the cathedral have given me. And of course, my dog Teddy, with all his papers in order to be accepted back into the U.S. These are the things I plan to take with me as I go through the process of letting go, of dying and waiting for new life, the stuff that all real transitions are about. Peter in Mark's Gospel for today hears from his teacher Jesus that Jesus is soon to begin the bumpiest process of transition imaginable, one in which he will have to give up his friends, his role among them, and his status as an up-and-coming rabbi Messiah. And of course, this transition, Jesus' transition, is not about his moving house across a border. Instead, it's about his arrest, his trial, his crucifixion, his death, and his resurrection. No compiling of important mementos or goodbye parties here. Jesus' departure will be a time instead when everything in his life will be stripped away. And of course, Peter does not like this news, does not think that this is in any way proper or fitting. And so as Mark's gospel tells it, Peter rebukes Jesus. And of course, Jesus comes right back at him. "Get thee behind me, adversary," he says. "You're not thinking straight. You have no idea how important my loss and leave-taking will be to everyone and to everything, including you." And then after letting Peter really have it, Jesus turns to his disciples and to the broader crowd and says, "Listen, people, get this. If you want to follow me, if you want to pattern your life after me, you'll need to embrace a lifelong process of letting go of your life in order to discover new life. For your own sake, and as you respond to the needs of others in the call of the gospel." And then Jesus goes on, but this time with questions. He says this, he asks this, "What good does it hold on tightly to your life if you're going to squeeze the life right out of it when doing so? What good does it do to hold on if holding on actually stops something new from being born?" Oh my. Actually, it couldn't have been a better reading for today. Jesus is speaking to me through this reading here today. But I would not only submit to you, I would proclaim to you that this morning he's also speaking to you, to us. For haven't you and I been in the middle of a protracted time of transition and loss for now a year? Haven't we been in a time of transition and loss in our personal lives, in the lives of our communities, and in the life of our churches? Haven't we witnessed or heard about some people and communities going through experiences just as harrowing as the description that Jesus shares with Peter about Jesus' own upcoming transition experience, an experience of vulnerability, loss, suffering, and death? And if we haven't ourselves experienced this, haven't we ourselves experienced the disruption, the loss, the upended expectations, and the kind of dislocation in place that transition is all about? And in all these experiences, it seems to me a question keeps being posed to you and to me over and over again. What will we do with the experience of having to let go of a life or parts of our lives that we have not only held dear, but we have grounded ourselves in? And what new life might emerge if we can just let go, if we can lose some things? But as I think about it, here's the thing. What makes letting go so difficult, and I'm speaking from experience here, so scary, is that we're asked to let go without knowing what lies on the other side of it. Yes, we witness in the life of Jesus that dying is the path to new life, that letting go, that loss is the experience that prepares the way for us and for others to take hold in a new way. But you and I don't get the reassurance that a specific picture of what that new life looks like would give us. And so letting go, and this is often the case for me, can feel a lot like free fall. You let go, and where do you go? But is it really free fall? Are we really alone in our losses and when we let go, or when we are given no option but to let go? Are we really alone in the process of dying that comes to us in all the little ways in our lives, or in the big ways in our lives, or in the kind of dying that will ultimately come to us just as it came to Jesus? Are we really in free fall with nothing and no one to catch us, or to at least hold out a hand to us in our falling? Our faith, a faith that has the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus at its center, our faith would answer these questions with a resounding no. For in Jesus, we've been given a Savior who has let go, who has lost everything, who has fallen as we have and as we are falling, and whose life testifies to the life-giving nature of that loss. In Jesus, we have somehow been extended a hand. Use your imagination. We have somehow been extended a hand that comforts us and that even guides us now and in the end to the ground of our being, a ground that we and the world can stand on, somehow safe and secure at the last. This is what our faith would tell us. And honestly, to be completely candid, this is what I have staked my life on as I have had to let go and fall over and over again in my now almost 70 years. I want to end by returning for just a moment to my little story about what I'm taking with me in my car as I cross the border to move back to the U.S. As I told that story, I compared it to Jesus' own story of transition, and I mentioned that he wasn't able to take anything along with him. In fact, I said that in Jesus' story of transition, he gets everything stripped away from him as he makes his departure. But you know, as I think about it, I don't really believe that that's true. For what he took along with him is the same thing that each of us and all of us take along with us when we are asked to let go of life in order to receive new life. He took along with him his most precious possessions, the sum total of his life as he had enacted it, as he had loved within it, as he had learned from it, and as he had prayed through it. And this, my friends, is what you and I take with us as we cross over thresholds of loss and new life. We take the sum total of all we have been, of all we have done, of everything and everyone we have loved, of all we have learned, and of every prayer we have offered. This morning, people of the Diocese of New Westminster, these are the things, the most important things, that I will be taking with me as I cross my threshold of loss and new life later today. And for these things, these most important things, I am forever grateful.